What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Friday morning edition of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sports Talk Matt. Ooh, I forgot my glasses when I'm staring at screens. This is my Clark Kent look as we go into the, Superman look. So here we are on BettingPros.com, always being brought to you by BetMGM. You guys can win $150, $10 on any event, including 2 bowl games today that we'll get into. Use that promo code JUICE150 at sign up, BetMGM.com or the BetMGM application where it's available for you. $10 to win $150 on any event, promo code JUICE150. All right, a 4-1 night last night. 4-1. The problem is, and it was a winning night, it could have been a monster night. Instead, it's a little win. We get both college basketball bets right. Seton Hall plus 2.5. Iowa State blows the doors off of Iowa. And I told you last year, and really last 2 years, I told you that TJ Otzelberger was a tremendous coach. He's a great coach. He just it was a bad fit. UNLV was not the best place for him. He is doing remarkable things with the Cyclones. I could not be happier for him, for Iowa State, for Jamie Pollard, for that matter, for making the call and bringing TJ back. And he should have gotten the job like 10 years ago, but they finally got it right. And look what Iowa State is. What are they, 9-0 now, nationally ranked, and they blew the doors off of off of Iowa. They've beaten Creighton. I mean, it's in back-to-back games. They beat Memphis. Iowa State's a really fun team to watch. They're hard to play against. They play tough. They play physical. Blowout win. That line movement was totally wrong. Closed at 5.5. We laid 4.5. So a good night betting college basketball. Both prop bets hit. The Muth touchdown, anytime touchdown at plus 190. He comes in. If he catches that ball at the end, though, we do get the KJ Osborne over 42.5 thanks to Dan Harris. That was his prop bet that I trailed. We got that right. So 2-0 on the prop bets, 2-0 on the college basketball bets. But our 1 unit bet was the Steelers plus 3.5. And if Farr Muth catches that ball, great job by Smith to punch that ball out. But if he makes that catch, we cover, regardless of the 2-point play. Well, we probably wouldn't want the 2-point play actually to happen. It would have been better for us if the 2-point play didn't happen. So we get that wrong, unfortunately. Vikings suck. Steelers suck, and it's a good thing for our under 8.5 win bet now because the Steelers are running out of games, and they've got 5 wins. So they got to win 4 more games for us to lose our bet. Do you see Pittsburgh winning 4 more games? Because I don't. So that will make up for the loss here tonight, with the Steelers taking them at plus 3.5. So it was a dog day, and unfortunately not a complete clean sweep. A 5-0 mark would have been beautiful tonight, but it's fine. So here's the thing. It's a Friday. There are 2 bowl games I want to get into, and that's kind of it, all right? Because Saturday is going to be a big combat sports day, all right? Saturday, we've got a Lomachenko fight. We've got the last pay-per-view event for the UFC. Huge card here in Vegas. I'm going to go see a band called The Churches on Saturday night, so I'm psyched because I have not gone to a live show in forever, and I mean forever. And if you know me, going to concerts is a really big part of my life. It's been part of my life since I was 15 years old, and I walked into a club in Boston, and I saw a band that was the remnants of a band called Camper Van Beethoven called Cracker. If you 90s kids might remember that. And then 2 nights later, I went back to that same club in the back of Fenway Park called the Avalon. If you're an old OG Bostonian, you know that. And I saw Helmet, and my life was completely changed. And I said, I want to go to as many concerts as I can, and I've been to over 400 concerts in my life. So it's a huge part. It's what led me to radio. So I get to go to a concert on Saturday night, and I am psyched to go see Churches, one of my favorite bands, playing. So here in Vegas, so at a club in Vegas, and I can't freaking wait. So we got a huge day of that. We've got Army Navy to get into tomorrow as well. So I'm going light today, knowing that we're going to have a much bigger card on Saturday, and then obviously a huge card on Sunday. So very excited to have all this happen. Very excited to see how the whole thing plays out. So I got 1 unit in play. I'm not doing a parlay today. You know, some of you guys are like, where's the parlay? I'm going to pick that back up in 2022. Okay, I'm just going to kind of tiptoe our way through Fridays, and let's talk about 2 bowl games. All right, let's start with a bowl game that's going to kick off at 12 noon Eastern time. It's a morning game for me. It's in Nassau. It's the Bahamas Bowl, Middle Tennessee up against Toledo. Now, I'm betting half units because, wow, this is a distraction, okay? How do you keep focused on playing a bowl game when you're in paradise? I don't know. All right. I think it's pretty tough. MTSU is 6-6 against the number so far this year, where they're 2-5 away from home. 4 of those games that they covered, 4 of the 6 at home. So now we're on a neutral field, but we're away from home. Toledo 8-4. They've covered their last 3 games. On the road, 5-1. This team likes playing away from home for whatever reason. Numbers -10. The point total is 52. Here is Toledo after laying 28 against Akron, winning by 35, laying 7.5 against Ohio, winning by 12, and laying 10.5 against Bowling Green and winning by 32. They ended the year on a 3-game winning streak straight up. They ended the year winning 4 of their last 5. And frankly, this is sort of a disappointing year for Toledo. They thought they were going to be better than they have been, but a bowl game in the Bahamas could be a pretty big feather in the cap for the MAC up against MTSU. Middle Tennessee State is an okay team, not a great team. Toledo scores 32 points per game. MTSU scores 27 points per game, but Toledo's defense has been pretty good this year, just 22 points given up. Yards per play, 4.9 for MTSU. 4.7 given up is 13th best for Toledo. This defense is a little bit underappreciated as to how good they have been, and they run the football as well as anybody in the MAC. 5.3 yards per carry, 192 yards per game on the ground for Toledo. They're not great at throwing, but they're okay at it. 8 yards per pass play is 41st in the country, but it's tough to throw on MTSU's defense. They turn the football over a lot, and they sack the quarterback a lot. As long as Toledo doesn't turn the football over, okay? MTSU, 2.4 takeaways per game, is number 1 in the country. Toledo, however, 0.5 giveaways per game. That's second best in the country, okay? So number 1 team taking the ball away, number 1 team not giving the ball away. As long as Toledo doesn't turn the football over, Toledo wins and covers, all right? I'm going to bank on the team that protects the football, not do anything stupid, run the ball. I'm going to lay the 10. Toledo, -10 against MTSU. We're going to lay the 10 points for a half a unit for the Bahamas Bowl. For the second bowl game of the night, the Cure Bowl. This is happening in Orlando, Florida. Northern Illinois, again out of the MAC, taking on Coastal Carolina. Everyone's favorite Coastal Carolina. Here's the weird thing. Coastal is 4-6 against the number over their last 10 games. Coastal hasn't been good this year. They have not covered in their last 3 games. In fact, 5 of the last 6 games on the year, Coastal did not cover. Yet Coastal's laying 10.5 points here in this game. And that's somewhat surprising to me. I'm actually kind of, borderline stunned here that the number is 10.5. Northern Illinois is 8-4-1. They're 5-2 against the spread away from home. They're 7-3 against the spread over their last 10 games against Kent State. In the MAC championship game, they win it by 18. Kent State was catching 3.5. The books still do not respect this team. 3 of the last 4 games they cover and win. Now, they went at home against Western Michigan, catching 7. They lost by 21 points. But against South Alabama, Coastal was laying 14. They won by 6. Against Texas State, laying 24.5. They won by 14. Against Georgia State, laying 12.5. They lost the game outright by 2. I don't think this Coastal team is the same Coastal team from last year, and everyone's getting caught up in brand identity. They shouldn't be 10.5 point favorites here in this game. I think we got Lombardi and company. I got a hungry team, a better team against the spread. They may not win the game, but I got 10.5 points. Give me Northern Illinois plus 10.5. We're going MAC, half a unit on each play here in these bowl games. I'm going to take the 10.5, the 10 points here, and maybe you might even get 10.5 here. Sorry, I'm going to lay the 10 points. Lay the 10 points with Toledo, laying 10 with Toledo, and we're taking the 10.5 with Northern Illinois. Maybe you get 9.5 out of Toledo if money comes in here on MTSU, but laying 10 and taking 10.5 for the two bowl games here, both on the MAC teams playing here tonight and today for the two bowl games as we start bowl season. Okay, so I may be back with player props depending on how things go. My family, we're going to this thing called Enchanted tonight, which is at the AAA ballpark. There's like 4 places in the entire country. They've turned the ballpark into like a winter wonderland where you go and ice skate and do a bunch of obstacle courses and stuff. So like Christmas time for my family, we are gaga into it. Like our house is all decked out, and my kid is 7 years old, and she's counting down the days to Santa Claus, and we're going to Disneyland for 2 days before Christmas to go see Santa Claus at Disneyland and blah, blah, blah. So like it's a cool time in the Perrault household. So we're going to go a little light here, just a couple of football plays, maybe some basketball. But then Saturday, we also have Steph Curry up against his brother and Seth Curry. So not only do we have combat sports and Army-Navy, we have the Warriors 9 more three-pointers for Steph Curry. So we missed it by 1 in the last game. We may come back and bet that same thing again with Curry going over his 3-point shots. My guess would be the number is going to be 6.5 again, and we probably go over that on the road. Less pressure, but with his brother guarding him at times, those sibling rivalries kick in pretty loudly. So that's all coming up on Saturday's podcast. So we've got a ton to get into. Oliveira versus Poirier, Lomachenko fighting. I mean, my goodness, we've got so many good things to pick and parlay and get going with. So very excited. Huge card on Saturday. So we'll do that coming up for the podcast tomorrow. But just for today, half a unit play. Toledo -10, half a unit. We're going Northern Illinois plus 10.5, half a unit. 1 unit in play here on a Friday. My name's Matt Perrault. Follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt. Each and every morning, it's the Daily Juice Podcast, always being brought to you by BetMGM.